Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We're super excited. Me and Latricia, this is our first episode. And in this episode, we want to share our views and our values when it comes to personal development. And how does that go in all parts of life? Remember in our intro, we've already talked about the importance of every piece of the pie. I know me and her both listen to Dr. Darius Daniels, and he always says that every part of life is integrated. So if you're doing well in one, eventually one part of your life is going to bleed into the other. How you do everything is how you do everything, right? So we want to talk about some of that in this episode. We'll probably share three things with you that are important to us. So let's jump right on into it. Latricia, are you ready to jump in?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's go. I love personal development. This is honestly one of the things that outside of my faith, this is one of the number one things that has helped me excel in a lot of areas. Just personal development, being able to look at myself and see what areas I'm strong in, what areas I'm weak in, and how to develop it.
Yeah. And the crazy part is for me, I was doing personal development before I knew what personal development was.
Really?
So I didn't know that it was so important to me, or that my thought process was so in tune with it. And then you add, you know, Darius Daniels, Eric Thomas, you add the John Maxwell's, and you start listening to those people, and it gives you insight like, oh, like I wasn't going crazy, because sometimes you think of things and you're not aware that other people having those same thoughts, because we really are more alike than we are different. And it just takes a matter of having a conversation with people to really find out like we really do have some common ground. When I think of personal development, I am really thinking about where I am now in comparison to where I want to be, and what do I have to do to get there. Right. So there's that part of personal development. And then there's the ugly part of personal development that we don't like. Is the stuff that either we don't want to change, right? Because we're stubborn, right? We're stubborn, or we can be stubborn, and we get called out either by a family, friend, a loved one, or we've just been in a really uncomfortable situations. I know for me, I've been in really uncomfortable situations, and it's not that the other person was uncomfortable. This is that I was uncomfortable, and it took me like looking at myself and saying, okay, Latrisa, you need to change, right? There's something about you that needs to change in the situation if you want to get a different response. So as we go through this journey of growing together, like Trinese and we're going to grow. But I hope that every time you listen to one of our podcasts, that you're able to grow, you're able to reflect, see something about yourself, or see something in someone else that maybe you didn't recognize before. Because a lot of times we don't have the perspective of other people. And because of that, we make assumptions. And those assumptions can get us in trouble, because assumptions get us in trouble by being irritated. Assumptions get us in trouble by having unnecessary anger. And so that I love personal development. I can talk about that, on end, just thinking about like who I was before and where I am now. So with that being said, Trinese, what are the one of the areas of personal development, or is when you think about personal development, like what is one of the first values that come to your mind when it comes to personal development?
One of the first values that come to my mind, definitely, I'll say character, but I'm gonna say consistency. And before I do jump into that, because I feel like I need to share this because on your journey, as you were saying, like you didn't know you were doing personal development before you knew what it was, right? But for me, I guess as a PK kid, so to speak, and having the thought or the train of thought or the mindset of you praying about it, God's gonna take care of it. Oh, you know, you doing the right things. You know, you're going to church. You're checking off the box for these things, but those areas in your life, I didn't know that I had to partner with God to actually fix these areas. I thought if I pray, I'm asking. He's the God of everything, right? So
Right.
I didn't know I had human responsibility in my development.
Oh man, that's big. That's
Yeah,
big
yeah.
because there are a lot of things that we leave on the table because we want other people to handle it for us,
All right. Mm-hmm.
and that can hold you back from um allowing your goals, your dreams, or whatever you're trying to achieve,
Mm-hmm.
or for your development to come into fruition because you thinking that you don't have anything to do with it. But
Mm-hmm.
in reality, it our our role plays a huge part, a huge part. Now
Mm-hmm.
God gonna do what He gonna do. Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to worry about Him because He has that consistency. You know, He's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But us, we fickle, and yeah. But recognizing that you have to do the work, like
Mm-hmm.
that. That's probably one of the biggest revelations you can come to when it comes to your
Mm-hmm.
development.
Yeah. So I had to share that part. So consistency is definitely one of the main values and aspects of personal development that I'm still working on that now. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have it all together, but I know that's a piece of my puzzle that will ultimately elevate and excel some of the things that I want to do in my life if I'm consistent with it. And what I'm learning is through my consistency, uh, it's just actually becoming the person.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I become the person, it's easier to do the thing and have the stuff. You know, the be do have model. I think Myra Golden talked about that a lot. He another person, y'all, we both listen to, Myra Golden. So y'all check him out if you ever get a chance. And he talks about be do have. And if you become it, you'll be able to do the thing so you can have the thing. So with my consistency, it's more so I use the analogy of like an athlete practicing, and the more and more they do it, the consistency. LeBron, y'all see where he is now, winning championships, MVPs, and more because he was consistent in the areas that he needed to be.
Yeah, consistency is one of my big ones. I would say it's definitely in my top three, like for sure.
Look,
Because
hold on, I don't want to cut you off, but I had to tell the people because when I look at you and I see you, I feel like you don't even struggle in that area.
stop playing, man.
Seriously, seriously. Like
Man,
I'm motivated by your consistency.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. Well, see, I guess that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's interesting. Oh, look, I'm taking a pause because I wasn't ready for that. Let me clear my throat. But no, I definitely wasn't ready for that. Well, and I'm going through all the words while I get my thoughts together. No, but
Hey,
seriously,
just come out with it. Just
right?
hey,
Yeah, but
this
seriously,
is
like,
us. We freely
yeah, yeah,
authentic, and we just gonna be us.
right, right. But no, like the consistency is important to me because one, like right before we got on this recording, I told Trinese that I'm OCD sometimes, but not all
Mm-hmm.
the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that has partly has to do with that. So I am a creature of habit.
Mm-hmm.
So I see the benefits of my routine. And so, like in the last, I think it was in the last episode in our intro, it's like I pay attention and I observe. Like I'm observer, like I watch. Well, one of the things that I do in relation to my consistency is I am always checking to see what is the response to my action. All right. So if I know that when I sleep 6 to 7 hours per night, that I have the energy to sustain throughout the day, I'm going to do everything in my power to get that 6 to 7 hours. Even if I don't want to go to bed early, but it's because I know the result of what that's going to provide for me. So I focus, like I definitely focus on the action, most definitely. But because I know that action is going to give me the result that I want every single time, then I'm like, I got to do this. I have to do this because I want to have the energy to be able to sustain throughout the day. If you were to ask my husband at any given time, what time does Latrisa want to get to bed? And he's going to say 9:30 without question, because I will look in and we'll be watching TV and it's 9:16 and he was like, you want to watch another episode? I was like, I gotta be to bed in 14 minutes. I don't know what you're talking about. Watch another episode because your wife can't function off of less than 6. So like it's a whole thing. So when people see that, they say, like you just said, like you admire my consistency. The truth of the matter is that I am in love with the results that I get when I am consistent. And that means more to me than doing something that I don't like. So that's really how I got that way, is that I just started saying, okay, well, what happens when I do this? Like, how does my body respond? Like, am I getting the results that I want? And if I'm not getting the results that I want, that's when I start struggling. So I even have to go through these things, and I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I even feel like I go through these moments where I have to tell myself, Latrisa, you have to do this at least for, it's depending on what it is. I have to do this X amount of times before I can have an accurate observation to decide whether or not this is something that I should continue to do. So those are the things that go through my head when I'm deciding whether or not I want to be consistent with something or not. Yeah.
So you kind of answered, because I was going to ask you the question of, how do you know? Like, this is the result that you're getting, but like you said, you go through it the amount of times that you're saying you need to before you get a observation, like a scientific method. Like, you got a hypothesis, step 1, step 2, step. So in math language, because I love math, systems and processes, right? I love anything that I know. If I do this equation, I'm going to get this answer one way or the other. But I'm struggling with the fact of, how do I even put the equation together? You see what I'm saying? So I guess kind of you saying that you test and tweak something for a certain amount of time to say, is this good for me? Or if it's not, you pivot.
Right. Because in all honesty, for the most part, you won't know if a habit is good or not until at least after a month. Like, you're just not gonna know. You're not gonna know. Now, it might be something instant, like, I don't know, like drinking water, right? So if drinking water is something that you want to improve upon, and the only thing that you have been doing is drinking Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, whatever it is, like that's the only thing that you've been drinking for all this time, we know what your urine look like when that's all you drinking, right?
Yeah.
So, but as soon as you start drinking water, you're gonna see immediate result because it's gonna change color. Like, so that's something that you see immediate. But when you're talking about
this part.
right, right. When you're changing something that is like really different, like, waking up in the morning or, getting consistent with your social media and finding that rhythm and everything, like that's really different. Because for example, I've been on this path, really, I probably started in December with just being consistent and waking up at the same time every morning, no matter what. Like, even on my off days, I'm still waking up at 5 or 5:30. I may sleep till 6 every once in a while, but that's only if certain criteria are made. Like, I have to have my post scheduled for the day already in order for me to be able to sleep in. If I haven't done that, then I could sleep. I gotta wake up, right? So I didn't really start seeing the results and the benefits of that. I started probably, I don't know, it's probably been over a month, like maybe a month and a half. I probably started sometime in November. But I can say with complete honesty, I'm not really seeing the benefit this week. And now this is at the time of the recording. So at the time of the recording, we're talking about the 3rd week of January. That's 2.5 months for me to really be like, oh, okay, this is really working. Like, we have to be willing to wait to see the progress. That delayed gratification is a real thing. We want it now. We're a microwave society. But for the results that we're desiring, we have to be willing to wait to see the results.
I agree, and I'll say the compound effect of it though. Once it starts compounding, is like a quantum leap. It's a 100% return on your investment.
Right.
So, like, for me, when I first started doing video, it was awful. If somebody would go back and look at like some stuff I did on YouTube or wherever I've been doing video, I really want to take it down. But now I know I'm not, because I want people to see the journey. But now, if you look, somebody be like, "Oh, you're overnight. You've been doing it." No, it's been 4 or 5 years. Consistent every day, probably doing a video or playing around or reading or watching something, learning something.
Right. Yeah. And I've definitely seen your growth. Now, in the last episode, now keep in mind, I was her financial coach.
Yeah.
Right. And so remember, I said that I like her ability to ask questions and be able to, willing to learn and improve. Well, I hired her last year to do my videos. So when y'all see the videos and they doing pop, 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 that ain't Latrisa. That is not Latrisa. That is Trinese doing that, right? So I saw what she was doing and I was like, oh, that I need that in my life because I don't want to do it. That's not something I want to be consistent in. And when I don't want to be consistent in something, I pay somebody else to do it.
That's a fact. Right. But what they say, that's a cheat code. When you get a coach that's been doing some, that's decades to a days that you'll be able to get something.
Exactly. So we talked about consistency.
We said we was gonna give 3. Are we gonna make it in this episode?
Yeah, we're gonna make it
in this episode.
We're gonna make it.
All right, so you share one that you wanna give.
So for me, the next one I want to share is respect. That's a huge value for me. And the reason why respect is so important to me is that I want to give everyone an opportunity to, 1, be themselves, and 2, not be ashamed. And why I say that is because everybody's coming from many walks of life, and they got so many things that they're worried about, and they may have things in their past that they may not be proud of. And we tend, and I know there are some things in my past that I've beat myself up about. But I don't want to add to the beating that someone is already doing for themselves. So when you are going through life and you meet someone or you learn about something about their past, like, yeah, they did it. Now, I'm not saying you condone it. Like, you're not saying that it's okay. Like, you're not saying that. But what you are doing is you are giving them the respect and the opportunity to change. So if they're not that person anymore, then you give them room to show you who they are now. I know Maya Angelou said, if someone shows who they are, you believe them. I know she said that. Now, we're not talking about someone who's disrespecting you and doing all of that. But, like, honestly, genuine, if this person has been consistent, right? Because we talk about consistent. They've been consistent in showing up. They've been consistent in responding and all this other stuff. And then you find out through the grapevine, not even through them, not even through them.
I was going to say it one more time for the people in the back.
Right. Not even through them. And then you find out that they did this back in the day.
Yeah.
And instead of you going to that person and asking them, you just start treating them different for no other reason other than what someone else told you. So that respect factor is huge to me. And it is one of my I would say one of my anchors as a coach, is that when people enter the room, they know that I am not going to look down on them because of the decisions they have made about their finances, because I've made mistakes, and what we're here to do is to grow, right?
Yeah.
So that philosophy of having having respect be a anchor or a foundation piece, right? To be a foundation piece of how I do my business, it just makes it easier for the people who I interact with.
That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess on respect, I guess I'll just add something small, and it's basically we attract what we mirror. So if I'm disrespectful, I'm going to attract disrespectful friends, clients, whatever the matter. So I want to reflect and be a mirror so I can get the same results back. Like, we reap what we sow, right?
Right.
So that's definitely something that, like, I've been learning as when you do like your dream clients, that don't pick the people you think you really, really want to serve or help. But actually, when you jotting down these attributes that you're looking at, you have to turn around and ask yourself, well, am I that? Am I respectful? Am I consistent?
Right.
Do I have, the character values that I want to see in somebody else? Am I showing the same thing? So that's something that I've been learning on the journey, that the more I become it, the more I will attract it.
Yeah. That's good. Well, cool, man. Well, we've been through 2. Is that right?
Consistency. Yep. Consistency and respect. So we're gonna get one more.
All right.
And then we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here after that. So what's the final? The third point, we gave respect and consistency. And number 3, this is a goodie by Woody. Integrity.
Yes.
Man, now this is huge. I think all 3 of these are definitely foundational, but definitely respect and integrity are foundational to every piece of the pie, every piece of our life, relationships, business, on our jobs, what have you. And I guess just sharing my story, integrity has allowed me to get in doors that people with money probably couldn't pay to get in. Some of the doors that I'm being able to get in, even though I don't know if most people know my story of having felonies on my background, but also with that, because of my character and my integrity in this season of my life, I'm still able to get indoors, be trusted with different things, like on my job, having different relationships, just so many things. So for me, integrity is definitely something that I'm gonna keep at the forefront, and has led my journey. Just honestly, that has led me from one step to the next.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that just that one piece of, I guess, character, just having integrity would take you such a long way. I think it said a name, having a good name is better than what? Rubies.
Right.
And I'm learning that Bible verse is true.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. I think of integrity, obviously, is, are you the same person behind closed doors that you are in public? And when you answer that question, it can really show you a lot of things that you need to work on. Because so I just putting it out there, but who are you behind closed doors? And my profession, outside of being a financial coach, I'm an accountant by trade. So that's my full-time job. We're both working 9 to 5s and everything, but I have to have integrity. Like, there's so much responsibility that comes with it. And if I don't do what I'm supposed to do while other people aren't looking, it could cause me to lose my job. And we're not trying to do that.
Right.
Two, it could cause someone not to get paid or be reimbursed or do all those things. Because I don't have a job where they tell you, this is what I need you to do at 8:00, and then at 8:15, and then at 9:00 you do that. Like, I don't have that type of job. Like, my job is literally, good morning, everybody. I'm going to my office and I'm ready to work. And that's it. Like, nobody knows what I'm doing. They just know stuff is getting done. Like, I have, things I'm responsible for, but at any rate, like, when you have integrity, the same thing like Trinese said, it will put you in rooms that you never thought that you could be in, just because people trust you and you show up the same way every single time. Like, when people walk in the room, or when you walk in the room, what do people say about you?
That's good.
Are you the same person every time when you show up? Because if you're not, then why would anybody want to work with you? Like, you want to be evergreen when it comes to your integrity. Like, you want to know that you're going to last, sustain, have that consistency to be that person all the time, no matter the situation. So if people are frustrated, they know you're going to be calm, cool, and collected. If it's a rainy day, you still gonna have sunshine on your face, right? Like, they want to know like, that you are gonna be that person every single time, and just being intentional to have the integrity. Because God, I'm telling you about him. He beat me up about integrity. Not beat me up in a way of like I've done something wrong. He beats me up because he'll ask me questions, like if I'm thinking about whether or not I should do A, B, or C. And we not talking about anything crazy. This is just like deciding and being open, right? Being honest, open, and transparent, right?
That's it.
I've had conversations with myself about, hey, do I count this this $25 check that someone just paid me on my taxes. Like when they just asked me to come to the church to do this real quick, like, do I count that on my taxes? Like, that's the integrity that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We not talking about but that I'm just saying that's how God deal with me.
Yeah.
And so I know that there are certain things that I have to do, because if I don't do it, God gonna beat me up.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't no pretty. I'm fine. So again, I don't like the result. So guess what? I'm gonna go ahead and do what I need to do. So my daddy won't bother me.
You're right.
So yeah, that integrity is important.
It is. And look, since you bring up about what you get whoopings for, so to speak, and metaphorically, one that I get when it comes with integrity is like, hey, Trinese, all right, what you saying and your actions not matching, so that's not integral.
Right.
So that's a lot with, okay, I'm gonna do this, but my actions doing something else. So that's still not good. Even though some people might not look at that as integrity, but it is your words and your actions matching.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, just to recap, so we talked about three things that are important to us, right? Three things
Yes.
that are important to us. And so, as you're watching this, what are the qualities that are important to you? And so that's question number one. I want you to ask, what qualities?
You want me to write it on the whiteboard?
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah, but no, what qualities are important to you? And then the second thing is what value is important to you when it comes to your personal development? Because we want to see our audience and the things that are important to them, and maybe that's something that we can talk about on down the road in this journey as we grow in this process. So I hope that you all have enjoyed this episode. So tune in for the next one. Trinese, it's in your hands.
In my hands, only thing I'm gonna say is make sure you hit that like button, because if you enjoyed this, an easy way for it to get to other people, it's just hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and hit the little ding, ding, ding bell. I don't know which side it is on the screen, but make sure you hit the bell so you'll get notified for anything that we're doing. We have enjoyed y'all, and guess what? We'll see you next week.